Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Women's Day conference. We have the beautiful Chelsea Krost with us. Hello, Chelsea. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's so exciting to be here with you, especially today on this very powerful Girl Power Day.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us. So Chelsea Krost, for those of you who don't know, she is one of America's leading millennial influencers. She's going to tell us what that means in a moment. She is a sought-after keynote speaker, and she's also a marketing and brand specialist. So you're kind of a big deal here, Chelsea. You've been doing this you tell us a little bit about you. Give us the Coles Notes of Chelsea.
Yeah, well, the very nutshell story is that I just turned 30 this month, February 2nd, but I've really been
party for 30.
Woo! Yeah, right? Bring it on, 30s, next chapter, next decade, all about it. But I've actually been working since I was 16 years old. Unknowingly, I started a radio talk show at 16. I was the host and producer of Teen Talk Live, a local AM radio show out of West Palm Beach, Florida. And it started out of passion, and it started out of because I felt like there was this void. I was missing the opportunity to connect with my peers and connect outside of my school. And you know what? The reality is I was really craving social media before it existed, because this was back in 2007 when the iPhone and social media was truly in its infancy, and the ability to connect globally was just not available. And MTV and Disney Channel were the prime programming for teenagers, and the dialogue around teenagers was very negative, lazy, entitled, narcissistic, and I wanted to change that narrative. And I also wanted to prove that narrative a bit wrong. And so long story short, my Teen Talk Live radio show was truly the catalyst to my career. By the time I was 18, I was producing for local CBS and Fox, put together a 4-part docuseries on behalf of feminine hygiene care, talk about girl power. We brought hundreds and thousands of sanitary hygiene products into the slums and AIDS orphanages and women's refugee centers in Nairobi, Kenya. And that was the catalyst to my consulting and influencer work. So it's a 15-year journey.
Oh, and it's been so cool to watch, because we've been with Best Ever You for a while. We've known you since then, and so it's so neat to have you here and see you in what week of pregnancy now? I'm so excited.
27 weeks. Wow. 27 weeks. Yes. Hello, third trimester.
Yeah. I'm so excited for you. But what we want to ask you next is, we're going to go all to proud and being proud, and it's not something that's super comfortable for people to be proud of themselves. It can be really uncomfortable, and but we'd like to know if you would share with us a time where you were proud of yourself.
I love this question, because you're right. We don't really take the moment to pat ourselves on the back often. I think we tend to harp on failure or negative or what we hate about ourselves, right? And it just creates this whole negative thought process and story. And but if I could really think of that in my honest truth, it goes back to 2016. Which is not that long ago. And it was my biggest breakdown. It was my biggest failure. It was my biggest kick in the gut, personally and professionally. Long story short, I was running a production, influencer and production company out in California with a co-founder, 50-50. Hired my best friend as our first hire, who was brilliant and talented, and I will always say that about her. And my grandfather had passed away, who was the light of my life, the light of our family. And it was a really hard death. We really watched him suffer from cancer. And while I was in Florida burying him, I learned that there were so many things going on behind my back in the company, across the country. And when I got back to California, it was just this ripple effect of downfall, of lies and stab in the back and things that were supposed to be being done that weren't done. Long story short, lost the company, lost almost 6 figures of my own personal money. And it was my biggest failure, within my career. And truly, I went into a 6-month grieving period, between my grandfather and the loss of business and friendship. It was just personal professional overload, and I really was in a very dark place. I was also getting married in the next 6 months, so the dichotomy of being so high and so low was very like polarizing. I was paralyzed. And I didn't know how to deal with this failure. And long story short, I got this opportunity to speak at 10X Growth Con with Grant Cardone. And it would have been such an easy opportunity for me to say no, not the right time, right? Because it was a very big commitment. He wanted me to have a program to sell from stage and offer this, he wanted a lot from me for the 10X. And I'm so thankful that someone asked a lot from me in that moment, because I was like in this really dark period. So long story short, I showed up. I created the best program of my career, honestly, and I seized that opportunity. And as I was on stage, I had no agenda to share about this past failure. But what the failure taught me was that if I didn't always take building my personal brand into consideration and continue to build Chelsea Krost and Chelsea Productions while I was in this joint venture, then my fallback and failure would have been so much harder, because I was able to keep on going. People didn't even know I was having this failure, because Chelsea Productions and Chelsea Krost and my brand was still thriving. But I was grieving this co-joint venture. So the essence of personal branding was the definition of why I was able to dust myself off and keep on going. And it was the first time I was able to pat myself on the back, because I was always double timing, working with the project, but keeping Chelsea Productions alive. And doing that allowed me to take the next step forward so easily. And sharing about the failure and sharing about the success on stage is what people gravitated to the most, what people could relate to the most. And I'm not going into all the details, we don't have time. But it also made them go, I had that experience. I had this failure and success, but I want to pivot that into my next business or brand identity, and grow from it and learn from it. And it, like 60 programs sold in 60 seconds type of outcome from stage, which was the catalyst to a lot of my LinkedIn programs, which are my Learning Personal Branding course was ranked top 12 globally last year. So it was like a big catalyst moment in a big breakdown moment. I do believe that there are silver linings to every failure. We just have to identify them and seize them.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I think you just hit the nail on the head with that authentic piece. Elizabeth and I talk about this phrase, fake it till you make it. And if you only present the good, and you don't say, but actually here's where I'm struggling, or here's where I failed, or here's where I didn't make it, then you don't have an opportunity to give me that lifeline. And so you sharing that, I can just imagine how maybe difficult that was, and then how much it actually meant in the end. And even sharing it now, I'm sitting here getting goosebumps going, yes, Chelsea, share about those failures. We want to celebrate mistakes. And you being proud of yourself, that's awesome. Did you do anything to celebrate? I know you're like, I was busy. I was doing 12 things, this. Did you take time to celebrate, or were you like, I'm proud, let's go?
You know what? I did, because it was such an alignment moment where it was the very first time my entire family, my dad, my brother, my husband, my mom, my sister-in-law, just so happened to be at the event and watching me speak. Everybody was at 10X Growth Con with me that day. Little did they know they were going to become like sales associates for me, because by the time I got off the stage, my table was so crowded that my mom, my dad, my brother were all taking, sales forms and credit cards, and it turned into a whole family affair. So it was such a whirlwind, but it was so authentic. It was so real and raw and organic, and there was no faking it about it. It was all the value and hard work that I put into this program and my story that was shared that made people, be attracted to the opportunity. So that night, we went out to my favorite steakhouse, popped champagne, toasting, cheersing, and going, oh my God, like that just happened. And it happened because I decided to be authentic and share my truth and share my best value and put my best foot forward. So we definitely celebrated that night.
Beautiful. I love hearing you and just kind of listening to all the things that you are saying here, because they're resonating with people. You can see in the comments and so forth, people are saying, show up. There's an arm.
Yes. Show up, take that step, take the leap of faith, right? You might not be, it's like not every day is everybody's best day. And I'm so aware of that. But what can you do in that bad day that makes you feel better by the end of the day? Right? I'm all about eating brownies and watching Housewives and having that like pity party. But at some point you have to, end the pity party and take the next step that's going to propel you forward to reach your goals, to be your better self. So, there's that work-life balance that we all have to figure out. And I acknowledge the bad, but like eventually the failure or the downfall or even the toxic relationship, right? Because I'm sure all of the women here could probably say, oh, that person, I could just flick that person out of my life, right? Acknowledge it, be aware of it, grieve it, and then move forward, because you're going to miss out on the opportunity at your fingertips.
All right, Women's Day. It's International Women's Day here. What does Women's Day mean to you?
So Women's Day to me this year means actually so much more than it ever has. Look at, the first female of color vice president that is representing our country. I mean, I was just moved to tears that the entire day of the inauguration. Even Amanda Gorman, right? It's just such I am girl power, hear me roar. And we're starting to see the representation of that more than ever.
Yes.
So that makes me very proud, very proud. Also, I think stepping into this next chapter, since I was 16, it's been a hustle for my professional self. I'm married, I'm happily married, I'm a first-time homeowner, several years ago, but it was always leading with my professional self. And I feel like 2021 marked this shift where it was also equal to my personal self, being pregnant and knowing that I'm bringing life into this world. And I'm having a boy in June, and so are a lot of my friends and family. We're all having boys. And I had this moment of, wow. Boy, mom, yes. I had this moment of, wow, there's a reason why all these powerful women around me are charged with this opportunity to raise the next generation of boys so that they empower women more in the future. And there's more gender equality and more opportunity and less gender divide. So I just feel this urge and sense of motherhood and women entrepreneurship and women in business, and that we are capable of everything and anything, especially if we support each other. Then we're unstoppable.
Love it.
I love that. I love that answer. And you're just bringing a little light to my life right now. I love it so much. I want to adopt you, Chelsea. I want you to tell me about a woman who has inspired you, since we're talking about Women's Day. So tell us about a woman who's inspired you.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And there's probably a whole bunch. So just pick one or two or whatever you feel good about.
There's a very long list. But I mean, in my professional self, Oprah and Barbara Walters and Diane Sawyer, were always my role models growing up, and how they broke barriers all in their own lane for me to be able to do what I do today. But there's truly no more inspirational people than my grandmother and my mother, because they never, growing up, I never felt inferior being a woman, because they were so strong and they had such presence within themselves and their careers and their marriages and their friendships, that it was never, it never registered to me that I was anything less than or less capable. So the fact, and that's all a testament to who they are and how they raised me. And so hands down, my grandmother and my mother.
Love that. All right. There's a lot here. Chris, should we go to Incredible Yes or Incredible?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it, yes.
We got one more for you here. And
Okay.
I'm a person who hates ending interviews, so sorry. I'm going to just.
I feel the same. Always hard to wrap it up.
No, bummer. But so great to have you here. So we have a question about your incredible yes. So an incredible yes is a moment, and Chris and I say this here on Best Ever You, a moment where you said yes to someone or something, and it changed your life. Can you share that with us?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
good
God.
start. Keep saying yes.
Yes. Well, there were, I'll talk about a recent one because it was almost such a no. In 2017, LinkedIn Learning asked for me to create a marketing to millennials course for the LinkedIn Learning platform. And it was not like and it was my first like royalty offer, right? Like, put up the work in hopes that it works. And that's how you'll get the return. Okay. And I happened to have been fresh off of 10X GrowthCon. I was running my group coaching program. I was running one-on-one coaching. I was kind of in that like rebuilding after 2016. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I can commit to this big project. It's so much of me deliverables wise. And I don't even know what I'm going to make off of it kind of thing. And I was coming off of the rebound of a lot of money loss, right? So I was in kind of that like financial fear, right? Everything I needed to know what I was going to earn in that moment. And I decided to say yes and take the gamble because I knew that my Marketing to Millennials course was going to be loaded with amazing content and loaded with amazing value and insight. I had been on the speaker circuit for 6-7 years at that point, and that so many people still didn't know the obvious to me in regards to basics and understanding of marketing to millennials, content marketing, social media marketing. Long story short, that course was a great success, and it led to 3 more courses on LinkedIn Learning. So now I have 4 courses on LinkedIn Learning. And like I said, my learning personal branding was top 12 globally in 2020, which, talk about great royalties. That was very exciting.
Chelsea, we always do right? Imaginary glitter. So grab some glitter and toss it in the air.
Yes, glitter moment. And also, like that was the opportunity that if I said no to, it would have been the most silly thing to say no to because it's been the best lead and referral, right? Opportunity for speaking engagements and coaching clients. So it was like, okay, I had to do all this upfront work to hope that it was going to pay off, but it was on me to make it pay off with how great I was going to make those courses. So that's a very recent yes that led to like 3 more yeses. That led to like, oh my God, especially come 2020 when events went bye-bye and, everybody was holding on to their dollars. They were like, I don't know what I'm doing with it. Was monthly income, and leads. So that was a huge gamble, if you will, that turned out to be, again, I seized the opportunity, didn't say no, showed up and made it worthwhile.
Beautiful. Where can we direct people for more information about you?
Well, all things at Chelsea Krost, my website, so it's Frost with a K, K-R-O-S-T. My website, Chelsea Krost, literally my website is a great landing page for what does Chelsea do? How can I work with her? How do I find these courses? Everything is there. But if you do have LinkedIn Premium, all of my courses are available. You could also purchase them a la carte. They're like $20 to $30. It's the best $20 to $30 you will spend because that you get so much out of it. So all things at Chelsea Krost. I'm always big on social. Big Twitter chat tomorrow night with Monica Berg, another fabulous female, talking about goals, setting your goals, keeping your goals, setting the right intentions for yourself. So yes, all things Chelsea Krost. Very easy to stay in touch.
Perfect. All right. Chris, anything more for Chelsea? Or
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations. And we can't wait to see pictures of your new baby when the day comes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we're just going to celebrate Chelsea throwing glitter in the air. And thank you for all the ladies chiming in and watching right now. We see you and we're glad you're here. More coming up in like 5 minutes. So have a beautiful day, Chelsea. And we'll talk to you.
Thank you.
Soon.
You too.
Thank you so much. Bye.